Ambassador Kelrith's 3 hearts beat in discordant rhythm as she composed the message that would either save her people or doom the galaxy. Her translucent fingers hovered over the quantum transmitter, trembling with the weight of a decision no Valen had ever hoped to make. The scourge had come without warning, a parasitic hive mind that consumed worlds, leaving nothing but desiccated husks in its wake. In 3 cycles, it had devoured 17 civilized systems. The Galactic Council's armada, representing 43 species and millennia of collective military knowledge, had been obliterated in the Battle of Kronos Gate. Now the scourge advanced toward the Council's core worlds, unstoppable and insatiable. "Ambassador, the evacuation transports are ready," her aide whispered, mandibles clicking nervously. "We must leave before—" "No!" Kelrith's voice was steady despite her terror. "Not yet. There is one option we haven't considered." Her aide's chromatic skin paled to ashen gray. "You don't mean the humans?" A horrified silence filled the chamber. Every species in the Council knew of humanity. The Deathworlders, the species that had clawed its way to sentience on a planet so hostile that simply existing there constituted a daily battle for survival. They were the galaxy's nightmare, kept isolated in their corner of space by unanimous agreement. "The Treaty of Andromeda forbids contact," her aide protested. "Their quarantine was established for good reason. They're unstable, violent, irrational, and they're survivors." Kelrith pulled up the classified files, data so disturbing that most Council members refused to read them. Earth, a Class 12 death world, where apex predators hunted apex predators, where the weather could kill in minutes, where the very air had once been poison. And humanity had not just survived but thrived, developing technology, art, philosophy, and an unnerving capacity for both creation and destruction. The reports were terrifying. Humans possessed no natural armor, yet they ran prey to exhaustion over days. They had no venom, yet they'd mastered chemistry to create toxins that made the Council's bioweapons look like children's toys. They had no telepathy, yet they'd built communication networks that spanned their entire world. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to treat life-or-death situations as puzzles to be solved rather than fates to be accepted. "They are classified as a Stage 3 hazard," her aide continued desperately. "Potential galactic-level threat. Contact protocols recommend orbital sterilization over negotiation." Kelrith turned to face her aide fully, all 3 eyes focused with grim determination. "Then we'll fit right in with what's coming for us. The scourge will kill us all. At least the humans might give us a chance." She sent the message before courage could fail her. The response came in 18 hours. Impossibly fast. The signal had crossed half the galaxy. Either the humans had been monitoring Council space all along, or they possessed faster-than-light communication that made the quantum transmitter look like smoke signals. The message was brief. Coordinates received. Fleet en route. Hold on. 3 words that chilled Kelrith more than the scourge ever had. Fleet en route. The humans had a fleet. The Council's emergency session erupted into chaos. How did an isolated, quarantined species build a fleet? Why had their monitoring satellites never detected it? What kind of fleet could cross the galaxy in mere days? They got their answer when the human ships arrived. They didn't look like ships. They looked like weapons. 47 vessels, each one bristling with armaments that violated at least a dozen galactic conventions. No elegant curves or artistic designs like Council ships. These were brutal, angular constructs built with singular purpose: to kill and keep killing until nothing hostile remained. The lead ship established communication. The human who appeared on screen was terrifyingly ordinary. No scales, no carapace, no natural defenses whatsoever. Just soft skin, binocular vision, and a smile that somehow conveyed both friendliness and predatory calculation. "Captain Sarah Chen, UHSF Indomitable," she said. "We got your distress call. Sorry we're late. Had to retrofit some of the fleet for Scourge-specific combat. We've encountered them before." The Council chamber fell silent. They'd encountered the Scourge? And survived? "That's impossible," someone whispered. "The Scourge is unstoppable." Captain Chen's smile widened slightly. "With all due respect, Ambassador, you've been fighting them wrong. You've been trying to outthink them, outmaneuver them, appeal to logic or self-preservation. The Scourge doesn't care about any of that." She leaned forward, and Kelrith saw something in those forward-facing eyes that she'd never seen in any sapient species. The gaze of a natural hunter. You know what the scourge reminds us of? Locusts, viruses, cancer cells. And humanity has been fighting those for millennia. What's your strategy? Kelrith asked, voice barely functioning. Simple. We're going to do what we do best. Chen's expression hardened into something that made Kelrith's blood run cold. We're going to be more stubborn, more vicious, and more creative than they are. We're going to make them regret ever coming to this galaxy, and we're not going to stop until every last one of them is dead or running. The battle for the Valen homeworld lasted 6 days. The Council watched from their evacuation ships in horrified fascination, as the human fleet engaged the Scourge in ways that defied every rule of civilized warfare. They used biological weapons. They used psychological warfare on a hive mind. They weaponized their ships, ramming them into Scourge clusters when ammunition ran low. They actually sang battle songs over open frequencies while they fought. When one of their ships was boarded, the crew set the reactor to overload and evacuated, turning their own vessel into a bomb. It was barbaric. It was terrifying. It was effective. On the 7th day, the Scourge retreated. For the first time in recorded history, the unstoppable force had been stopped. Captain Chen's final transmission to the Council was brief. The Scourge won't be back to this sector for a while. We've taught them what we teach everything that threatens us. Humans are more trouble than we're worth. She paused. We'll be heading home now. But we'll be watching. If you need us again, well, you know how to call. As the human fleet vanished into FTL, Kelrith finally understood the old Earth saying she'd found in the cultural database. When you have no other choice, call the devil, you know. Humanity wasn't the devil. They were something far more useful and far more frightening. They were the monster that made other monsters hesitate. And for the first time since the Scourge appeared, Ambassador Kelrith felt something unexpected. Hope.